no. This doesn't even make any sense. Everyone's already on a universal basic income. If you don't have income, the government gives you income. What's the difference?
Right,
They do
right.
that now.
Right, right,
They've been
right.
doing that for many years. What are you talking about?
I guess it would be
Right?
on a more steroided system where people, yeah, I guess, yeah, that wouldn't make
I mean, what do
sense.
you think all the Somalis are doing in Mexico with their fake daycare centers? They're on a universal basic income. They got to put up a sign on a door that's empty, and they don't even spell the word learning right, and they have a universal basic income. That's all you got to do. You
Hey,
just
man.
apply for a stupid program, you put a sign on the door, and you get income.
Hey,
Like,
not
what's the difference between that? So, like
yeah.
the last time I was here, imagine if we go back in time to that, and then you're like, Rafi, I bet you next time I see you, silver's gonna be like double where it is now.
Oh, you'd be crazy.
And then I think like, well, I don't know, maybe are you going on vacation for a while? And then they'd be like, no, I'm just gonna have you on the regular schedule. And then it'd be like, well, I mean, maybe it could be. No, I don't think that we're in an endgame spiral now. I think we're in a preview.
Hmm.
I think the endgame spiral will happen when the next bailouts happen, like the regional banking crisis in 2023. If that happens again with, let's say, the big banks, and then the Fed has to buy like $5 trillion in debt in order to pad all of those too big to fail banks with trillions more fake money, just so that nobody realizes they're bankrupt yet, then I think we'll be in the end game.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be just gold and silver going up and up and up, like limit up every day for like 2 or 3 weeks. And one day gold would be like, let's say, I don't know, $5,000, and then the next day 6,000, next day 7,000, 8,000, 9,000. 2 weeks later, it's at 12,000. Then people start getting really seriously worried. People are already getting a little bit worried now, but they're not panicking. There's no panic, except in the hyperinflationary countries like Venezuela and Iran. They're panicking.
Right.
And I was talking about that. I don't know if you're going to ask this question, so I'm going to answer it anyway, as if you asked it. People are really, really worried about CBDCs. They've been worried about CBDCs for a very long time, and I understand that it's a very worrying thing. But when there is hyperinflation, which is what the end game is,
Mm-hmm.
the government loses control, and you see that in Iran. Like it's not that they just decided to start burning the pictures of the Ayatollah on the streets. Like, they didn't just like, oh, somebody just decided to do that. They ran out of money.
Right. Yeah, yeah.
They're in a hyperinflationary environment right now. I think the real was like it dropped like 100% against the dollar in a day.
That's
So
crazy.
I don't even know what the numbers are. I'm just making them up, but I know it was extreme.
Mm-hmm.
Like these numbers aren't even cataloged at Trading Economics, which is where I get most of my currency information, because the graphs are all like laid out there nicely, but I don't even have any information on Iran. What you see there is the whole regime falling apart, the whole system of law and order falling apart. So when the end game comes to the U.S., it will come to everything else, because all other currencies are based on the dollar. And when you have massive demonstrations in the streets against everything, against the European Union, the European Commission, everywhere in Asia, everywhere that's dollar based, which is basically everything,
Yeah.
then they're not going to say, "Oh, don't worry, hyperinflation will stop because we're introducing a CBDC and it's going to be great." No, it's not going to do anything,
Mm-hmm.
because it'll have to be built on the current price structure. No matter how many times I say this, I say it in an academic way, right? It sounds like, well, because of the monetary regression principle you see here, we could stroke our beards and say, and it won't happen. No, but it won't. It's like it's hard to translate these intellectual concepts into reality, but here's a simpler way to put it. Governments feed off of the division of labor. They get their power by stealing from you, whether it's through inflation or taxation, the same thing. It's just a different way
Right,
of doing
right,
it. But if there's no division of labor, they don't have any resources either, because they're a parasitic entity, right?
right.
And the parasitism stops when there's hyperinflation. That's the ultimate limit. If you read Murray Rothbard and Man, Economy, and State, I forgot what chapter it was, but it's towards the end, and he asks, "Is there a limit to inflation?" He's like, "Yes, there is an ultimate limit. It's called hyperinflation. That's the limit. There's nothing beyond that. It's not like the government can get their power back after hyperinflation. Say, oh, oops, sorry, we're going to try this one, and it's going to work now." No, There's not going to be any CBDC. We're going to go back to square one. Square one is gold and silver, and a lot of people will starve because of that. But those who have gold and silver won't. And don't worry about a techno dystopia. It's not going to happen.
Hyperinflation is not a policy choice, it is a loss of control. Once inflation reaches that stage, governments no longer dictate outcomes, society does. Examples from modern history show that currency collapse is accompanied by protests, institutional breakdowns, and widespread instability. Digital currencies or regulatory fixes cannot stop it because they are built atop the same failing price structure. Inflation is not merely rising prices, it is the breakdown of economic coordination. When money no longer functions, the system resets. Throughout history, that reset has returned societies to tangible monetary anchors, gold and silver.
You're talking about a cycle that takes hundreds of years to play out.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
Right. So yeah, it could be that 1,000 years from now, they'll be doing this again,
Hmm.
and on a different plateau, wherever they're going to be, if
Right.
humanity even survives that far. I don't know. I can't think that far, but judging on the directions that we've gone in since, I don't know, the 1930s, if we continue in these directions, we're not going to make it as a species. The chimps are going to have to evolve into something else if they survive, or maybe we'll like evolve from crocodiles or something, or one of those maybe horseshoe crabs. Like they haven't evolved in many hundreds of millions of years. It's about time that they evolve some intelligence. Maybe if we're off the planet, there will be a race of very intelligent horseshoe crabs, which will then inflate themselves into oblivion. Then we'll go into the next thing. But we're not doing so well. I forgot even what your question was. I'm thinking of hyper evolved
No,
horseshoe
I'm
crabs.
saying it won't it the cycle repeat? Like they'll just keep
Yes, the
like
cycle will repeat. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
The cycle will repeat. It's going to take thousands of years. Remember the Roman Empire collapsed, and then there was 1,000 year dark age. Um, if we have a dark age now, it would mean that a lot of people starve to death, and I don't want to think about that. So I'm kind of hoping that all of the technological know-how and all Mary Rothbard called technology, just simplified it and called it recipes, right? They're just technology is just recipes about how to put things together. That's all it
Hmm.
is. So if the monetary system collapses, but the the knowledge of how to do recipes persists, right? That was one of the problems with the collapse of the Roman Empire. They had plumbing, they had cement, they had all this technology, and then it was just lost in the chaos. And then we had to
Right.
rebuild it back again 1,000 years later. So a lot of the discoveries that the Roman Empire made, we had to remake them. Maybe yeah, like something like 1,000 years later, we rediscovered it in the Renaissance, and then we had this technological revival in the 18th and 19th centuries, scientific
Right.
revolution. But a lot of those discoveries were made during the empire, and we only discovered they were made during the empire after we discovered that there was a Roman Empire at all.
Right. Right. Right.
So hopefully this time the recipes can be saved, and there's going to be a lot of chaos, a lot of suffering, but I'm hoping there won't be a 1,000 year dark age, maybe just like, a 2, 3 year dark age where the massive societal drugging that we've been under, both literally and figuratively,
Yeah.
dissipates. Because well, I don't want to think about this, but I do think about it. But when the system goes, everyone that's on drugs is not going to have drugs. Like everyone that's on meth, everyone that's on they call it Ritalin or what, it's all methamphetamines,
Right.
or serotonin reuptake inhibitors, or any drugs that they need for any autoimmune conditions that were caused by any number of the crazy stuff that people inject in themselves all the time.
Right.
These are not going to be available for a while, and you're going to have an entire society of people that are in withdrawal from whatever drugs they're on, whether illegal or not. Legal or illegal doesn't make a difference.
Yeah.
Okay,
Even
I'm getting way
even
too.
The US dollar sits at the center of the global monetary system. When stress fractures appear at the core, they ripple outward. Most currencies, trade agreements, and debt markets depend on dollar stability. This is why financial unrest rarely remains local. From Europe to Asia, protests against rising living costs signal deeper strain. A collapsing confidence spreads faster than policy responses can contain. When reserve currencies falter, governments cannot simply introduce new tools to restore trust overnight. Monetary history suggests that credibility, once lost, takes generations to rebuild.
Yeah. Well, what's happening in Iran? I don't know. Are people eating there? It seems that they're eating because if they weren't eating, they wouldn't be able to protest.
No, for sure. I guess maybe hyperinflation hits and they just can't afford, and maybe the next stage is just looting. But how far would that go? Like how you can only loot so much from a grocery store or the food supply you have.
Yeah, and then it takes a long time to rebuild that as you need confidence to go back into a city that just looted you and start a
Right,
business again.
right.
So I mean, I would advise our viewers to try to figure out what is actually going on in Iran. Are people are they starving? Is there food available? Can they do they have their basic needs met? I
Right,
don't. I really don't know the answers to these questions. Oh, they're doing that already. I'm on
right,
a few Telegram groups because in Israel we're following this very closely.
right.
Not that I wish anything ill on the Iranian people. They're not my enemy, but the Iranian regime definitely is, and I would like to see them
For
go
sure.
away.
For sure.
Uh, so I'm rooting for them, and I'm following on like every video that comes out, not every single one, but like the big ones of burning signs and people running after the Basij, I think that's how they pronounce it, chasing them in the streets, beating them in public. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
One thing I pointed out on X was that the last Iranian revolution, which brought in the Ayatollah, the Islamic Revolution, happened in what year?
1979?
1979. That was
Yeah.
the year of global hyperinflation when gold and silver were going parabolic, right?
Right,
I
right.
don't I don't think that's a coincidence. And the price action of gold and silver now is like 1979. That's the way it's moving right now.
Wow.
And all this, and you have another revolution in Iran. They want to get rid of the Islamic people, bring back the Shah. It doesn't sound like a great idea. I mean, they wouldn't have kicked him out if he was so great anyway.
Civilizations rise and fall in long cycles. The Roman Empire collapsed not just from invasion, but from monetary decay and institutional overreach. Knowledge, infrastructure, and trade networks vanished in the chaos. Today's world is different only in speed. Technology accelerates collapse, but it may also shorten recovery. If industrial knowledge and production methods survive a monetary reset, the Dark Age may be measured in years, not centuries. Still, the transition would be painful. Economic systems fail first. Food, medicine, and energy follow soon after. Preparation becomes resilience.
Uh, uh, they're complicated. I'm not sad that Maduro's gone. He's bad. I
Right,
wasn't sad. I wasn't sad that Saddam was gone. He's bad, but he was
right,
replaced by just pretty much chaos.
right.
So I'm not cheering what's going on in Venezuela. I'm not particularly sad about it. It seems to me like overtly transparent what Trump is trying to do. They can't you can't in an inflationary system that has to feed on itself with ever more inflation. The only way out of it temporarily is to increase productivity. That's what happened in the mid 90s with the internet, right? We were in a hyperinflationary spiral.
Mm-hmm.
In 1990s, early 1990, 1991, 1992, I think price inflation, consumer prices were rising by 6, 7%. It was pretty bad. And
Wow.
then the internet came and really centralized production and really made things a lot cheaper. And that saved the fiat system for another 20 years.
Do you think AI will
So
do the same thing, or
no,
will A?
I don't. I
No.
don't. From what I've seen with AI, it's not making things more productive like the internet did. The internet was just streamlining supply chains. You have Amazon delivering to everything now instead of these stores
Right.
or brick and mortar stores. But AI looks to me to make things less efficient, and it wows us with answers to questions, but it doesn't really help in terms of productivity. I mean, if you're trying to cut customer service from an AI representative, you're just going to be wasting your time.
Yeah, you're
Um,
talking to a machine.
yeah, and people know that, and no, I don't see AI doing that. But back to Trump, what he's trying to do is get oil, get Greenland, and hopefully the productivity of Venezuelan oil and whatever they can dig up from Greenland will outpace the inflation, but it won't because we have to be on a certain trajectory. I mean, how long is it going to take to get Venezuelan oil up and running?
Probably 3, 4, 5 years.
Years,
Yeah.
whatever it is, it's years. I mean, the inflation's happening now,
Yeah,
so
yeah, yeah.
it's too late. There's no saving this.
In the past, productivity shocks delayed collapse. The internet revolution of the 1990s reduced costs, boosted efficiency, and bought fiat systems time. Today, hopes are placed on artificial intelligence, but AI dazzles more than it delivers. It does not replace energy, raw materials, or trust. Meanwhile, inflation compounds faster than productivity gains can offset. Resource expansion, whether oil, minerals, or land, takes years. Monetary crises unfold in months. When inflation outruns productivity, no innovation can stabilize the currency fast enough to prevent repricing of real assets.
This doesn't even make any sense. Everyone's already on a universal basic income. If you don't have income, the government gives you income. What's the difference?
Right,
They do
right.
that now.
Right, right,
They've been
right.
doing that for many years. What are you talking about?
I guess it would be
Right?
on a more steroided system where people, yeah, yeah, that wouldn't make
I mean, what do
sense.
you think all the Somalis are doing in Mexico with their fake daycare centers? They're on a universal basic income. They got to put up a sign on a door that's empty, and they don't even spell the word learning right, and they have a universal basic income. That's all you got to do. You
Hey,
just
man.
apply for a stupid program, you put a sign on the door, and you get income.
Hey,
Like,
not,
what's the difference between that and what's happening now? I don't see any difference.
no, no, no. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Well said.
No, I don't mean that literally, but like I'm at the point where I can say that jokingly. Okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
start stacking now. Maybe it's not too late, but like in case it isn't, you should get to know the community and start making friends with us because you're gonna need us, man.
Yeah, we're the only ones with all the water and food, and we've been preparing for 5, 10 years.
We don't need water and food. We have the means to purchase it.
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's right.
No, no, we need some. You need some. I'm not saying don't stack water food. You should have some water and food, but like the people that say, "Oh, you can't eat gold and silver." You can't, but you can buy food with it when the
Yeah.
dollar doesn't work.
Gold and silver are not consumed, they endure. When paper systems fail, they become bridges to the next system. Critics say metals cannot be eaten, but history shows they can always be exchanged for food when currencies cannot. Ownership is not about speculation, it is about optionality. In every major monetary reset, those holding tangible assets preserved purchasing power while others scrambled. As trust in institutions erodes, communities form around preparedness, trade, and real value. The question is not if cycles repeat, but who recognizes them early enough to adapt.